Okay. Good morning to all. Today we are going to see a particular question which was asked on 4th December 2021 for academic task 1 for the real Ielts examination. And this was the question: international travel is becoming cheaper and countries are opening their doors to more and more tourists. So, that international travel is becoming cheaper and cheaper, and countries are opening their doors to more and more tourists. Do the advantages of increased tourism outweigh the disadvantages? This is the question we are going to see. So we have to address specifically the advantages of increased tourists. If there are more tourists, what happens? Advantages of increased tourists. So if there are more tourists, what will happen? Now, this is to be focused. If there are more tourists, what will happen? If there is less tourists, what will happen? Something related to more or less there. It's not actually dealing with the tourism. It's dealing with the increasing number of tourists. When people, more and more tourists are coming, what happens? Is it advantages or disadvantages? So that's a question that we are going to see here. Now, we can see the introduction like this. Of late, tourism is becoming one of the industries which are exhibiting an accelerated growth. So we have said accelerated growth is here. So it is increased number of tourists is here. It is mentioned here. So tourism is one of the industries which is exhibiting an accelerated growth. In the sense we have increasing number of tourists each year. Undoubtedly, this can be attributed to the favorable environment which is created by the authorities. That there is no doubt we have this result. We have the result of increased number of tourists just because of the favorable environment which is created by the governments. However, I hardly feel tourism has only positive aspects. So I hardly feel this has only positive aspect. So I just connected this. This is to be connected to accelerated growth. So accelerated growth, the accelerated growth of the tourism industry has not only positive aspect, it has some negative aspects too. Now, let's see what are the advantages. One of the tangible advantages of tourism promotion is to those who travel, as it creates more opportunity to them to explore different parts of the world. That who is benefited by this sorts of facilities? The facility is benefited by the travelers. They can explore different parts of the world. Provisions like visa on arrival, example, it's a great success. Cheaper international travel packages, another opportunity. So these are the things that calls many tourists to visit more and more places. Now, the second paragraph is also dealing with the advantages. Not only are the tourists benefited, it is the economies, but also the economies of the respective nations. Both the economy of the nations and the tourists are benefited. To be precise, tourists brings a lot of revenue to such a countries by means of commercial activities. There are a lot of trade activities between these people. Local businesses boom when specific seasons come. In many countries, you can see that tourism becomes the backbone of their. So newer approach. So I have focused on this thing. Let me see the thing here. So when tourism promotion, so when an attempt to accommodate more people, promotion. So the word promotion reflects more facilities of tourism. They are promoting the tourism. Here again, I have written newer approach. This newer approach is again something which focus. It's not, we are just not concentrating on tourism. We are focusing on the core word, increasing tourists. So that is tourism promotion, newer approach. So you can see in the question that it is not dealing with tourism actually. We are dealing with increasing number of tourists, okay, and it is not actually tourists. It's not actually tourism you are dealing with. If it is, you have to see the question once again. Increase the tourists. Do the advantages of increased tourists outweigh the disadvantages? So that's the reason why we have given two words here. Newer approach here. Another word is tourism promotion, newer approach. So we have identified the core word, and that's why we have presented it. So we have a comparative things here, more, promotion, newer approach. Tourists bring a lot of revenue to such countries by means of commercial activities. We have said that. Okay. It also paved the way for infrastructural development and cultural exchanges. Okay. Well, this is what the thing is. Now, the other thing. So what we can see in the disadvantage paragraph, we have to see the other side. What are the drawbacks of tourism? Often create some sorts of issues. One such issue is the risk of disease. So we have some negative impacts too. One is the risk of disease. Many countries, example is given, travel ban of people when during the pandemic. Conflicts between the locals and visitors, smuggling and backpedaling, and littering issues are also so not so right. Okay. So whatever these negative things are, you can say most countries can effectively manage such situations. If it happens, most countries can manage the situations. It won't be becoming worse. Now, to conclude, it's clear tourism industry receives much significance these days owing to its immense opportunities. You know, these days you have much significance. Again, the word came, much significance. Okay, so one should not belittle its, it creates opportunities, but one should not belittle its darker side. Okay, so I have to see something here. It is to be admitted that more tourists often create some sorts of issues. Okay, so we have the issues like that. So we have said more number of tourists, risk of this issue is the increased risk of disease. Okay, fine. So we have come to the end of the session. So we have completed the essay.